Yasodanandana Brajajanarandana
Yasodanandana
Yasodanandana Brajajanarandana
Yasodanandana
Jamanatira Vanachadi
Munatira
Jamunatira Vanachadi
Munatira Vanachadi
Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari
Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari
Gopi Jana Balabha Girivardhari Gopi Jana Balabha Girivardhari Gopi Jana Balabha Girivardhari
Gopijana Vallabha Girivardhari
Yasodanandana Brajajanarandana
Yasodanandana Brajajanarandana
Yasodanandana Brajajanarandana
Yasodanandana Brajajanarandana
Jamunatira Vanachadi
Munatira Vanachadi
Jamunatira Vanachadi
Munatira Vanachadi
Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari
Radha Madhava Kunja
Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Jaya Madhava Kunja Vihari Jaya Vishnupad Paramahamsa Hari Virgacharya His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Gaur Bhaktivinoda Ki Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya
Om Bhagavate Vasudevaya
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
I'm going to read a verse this morning, Canto 3, Chapter 23, and the text number is, do you have that paper?
No, I might be in the right place. Oh, I
I believe it's 49. So,
51.
51, all right, 51, 51. Canto 3, Chapter 23.
40.
Text 51.
51.
So the speaker is Devahuti. And Devahuti is the daughter of Swayambhuva Manu, one of 3 daughters. So this is, I'm sorry, yeah. One of 3 daughters, the eldest of 3, and by her own choice, she became married to Kardama Muni, who was a Brahmana, so she's a princess, daughter of a Kshatriya, and her choice was to marry Kardama Muni. So this is at the very beginning stage of at least the day of Brahma, if not the life of Brahma. One of the direct sons of Lord Brahma is Kardama Muni. Swayambhuva Madhu is also direct production or creation of Brahma's body. So then his daughter, Devahuti. So they married. Long description of how that happened. And they lived together. This is Satya Yuga, so they lived long duration of life. The maximum, just like in our Kali Yuga, maximum duration is approximately 100 years. That's not 100 years, not 1,000 years, not 10,000 years, but 100,000 years. It's a long time to live. And they were married for a good part of that duration. Tens of thousands of years. Living in the forest, doing what people do in Satya Yuga, engaging in meditation and performing various austerities that you do when you live in the forest. And became very purified and qualified for the purpose that Lord Brahma had requested of his son, Kardama Muni, to help, now that I've created this universe, can you help populate the universe with good praja, good offspring? So that was that. The coming attraction is the sequence of events is, after tens of thousands of years living in this, preparing themselves for good praja, because they live together, they know one another's mind. He understood the desire of Devahuti, not only to happily serve her husband, but to have children. And so, in addition to being a pure devotee, he was a mystic, pretty exceptional mystic at that. So without his even uttering a mantra, from his mystic power, or from his mind, he created a vimana, a flying city that couldn't just like hover over the ground like a flying carpet or something, but it could travel anywhere in the universe. And it was equipped with 1,000 maidservants for taking care of the needs of one Devahuti. And they had all opulence, which was also part of his mystic power. So he had these powers that he didn't exhibit until the time was there to exhibit them. There was a purpose behind it. It was to create, for those who lived in the forest for tens of thousands of years and simply engage in devotional service and meditation on the Supreme Lord, interest in temporary things goes away. So it was to reciprocate with her services and provide a situation where together they could produce children. So they did that for some 100 years, traveling to Mount Meru and the heavenly planets and here and there, and meeting various sages. And then the immediate section prior to this is they prepared themselves and engaged in activities so they could produce children. And very interestingly, 9 daughters were produced simultaneously. Doesn't give a description of how that happened, but simultaneously. And then when the 9 daughters, they were, by the way, when they were born, the the birth took place almost immediately, and very quickly they became adult. Something like what happened with Vyasadeva. When he was born, it would happen very quickly, and he was an adult. Similarly with Swayambhuva Manu, when he and Shatarupa were born, they were adults. They didn't go through that phase of life. And he didn't say anything, but just as he could understand her mind, she could understand his. And his mind was, now I'm going to go to the forest. And as was committed to by your father when the marriage arrangement was agreed upon. And she's not feeling so good about that. So she's going to now speak some things that say, I'm not feeling so good about that. I'm feeling fearful that I'll be without you, because in your presence I have felt protection. But of course everything in this world is temporary, and he's now going as part of the temporary, and she knows it's imminent, so now she's going to speak something. And it's a nice something. Text 51. My Lord, Devahuti said, you have fulfilled all the promises you gave me, yet, because I am your surrendered soul, you should give me fearlessness also. She's not greedy, she's just, he's going and she wants fearlessness. Purport, Devahuti requested her husband to grant her something without fear. As a wife, she was a fully surrendered soul to her husband, and it is the responsibility of the husband to give his wife fearlessness. How one awards fearlessness to his subordinate is mentioned in the 5th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. One who cannot get free from the clutches of death is dependent. And he should not become a spiritual master, nor a husband, nor a kinsman, nor a father, nor a mother, etc. It is the duty of the superior to give fearlessness to the subordinate. To take charge of someone, therefore, he's repeating, as either as father, mother, spiritual master, relative, or husband, one must accept the responsibility to give his ward freedom from the fearful situation of material existence. Material existence is always fearful and full of anxiety. Devahuti is saying, quote, you have given me all sorts of material comforts by your yogic power, and since you are now prepared to go away, you must give me your last award so that I may get free from this material conditional life. Few things. One of them is this reference in the purport to how one awards fearlessness to his subordinate is mentioned in the 5th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. At least one of the places in the 5th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam where that topic comes up is Rishabdev's instructions to his 100 sons, headed by Bharat. So before he goes and leaves the kingdom in the hands of his eldest son, Bharat, he gives instructions. Of course, he was doing all along because he's the father and they're his children, and so forth. And he's an incarnation of the Supreme Lord, so he's done it not just one time, ongoing. But he's giving instructions about three things, basically. Don't, do, and the mood. So do not is, do not accept the mistaken position of trying to find happiness in this temporary realm. Do not indulge yourself in pursuit of sense gratification. Do not do that. That sense gratification life is no better than the life of animals, hogs and dogs. This is the specific reference he makes. Don't indulge in sensual pursuit. Do engage in, the language in the verses is tapo divyam, just like today's Ekadasi. So Ekadasi for Vaishnavas is especially a day for tapo divyam. It's especially, every day is, but especially because it's an auspicious day. And on auspicious days, it's a really good opportunity for progressing spiritually. That's the auspiciousness, at least for one who's on the path of transcendence. For those that are not on the path of transcendence, an auspicious day for getting material things. So, in other words, that a vast portion of the Vedas is Karma Kanda, and the Karma Kanda section of the Vedas also acknowledges Ekadasi, and it gives different procedures, practices, and austerities and things in order to get this desire fulfilled, and another Ekadasi to get that desire fulfilled, and 52 Ekadasis, you have a whole package of all your desires. Just follow connect the points, and you've got a life of material happiness, fulfillment of material desire. The advocacy of Bhagavatam, and ultimately, of course, the Vedas, is not like that, but take this auspiciousness to assist you in achieving the goal of life. And part of that which helps us achieve the goal of life is, positive and negative. Anukulyasya sankalpa, pratikulyasya varjanam. Accept things that are favorable. So part of some of the things we do on Ekadasi is we take some Ekadasi vrata of increasing something, increasing the number of rounds, or increasing the time spent reading scripture, or increasing something on the devotional side, and then decreasing something on the material side, on the bodily maintenance side, decrease, and over there on the positively increase. Why? Because it's auspicious, just like another example for us is Brahma Muhurta. The term Muhurta is a measure of time, and Brahma Muhurta is the best period of the day for spiritual practice. And so it's encouraged, it's auspicious to perform your devotional activity during that Brahma Muhurta period, which is basically like an hour and a half before the sun rises. And then it's not like after the sun rises, your spiritual practice, you can skip it. Rather, it means that this is an auspicious time, and therefore do those auspicious things, or transcendental goal of life things, during that time. Why? Because it's especially favorable to receive the desired outcome. So it certainly also helps, we were discussing this yesterday evening, that you're clear what the purpose is, what the outcome is, the sankalpa, the intention behind rising early. Worldly people, there's this, I don't know if you have heard this outside of America, but the early bird gets the worm. You heard that one? Lovely expression. So, very ambitious, materially pursuing people, they rise very early and they get to work before everybody, especially business owners and so forth. Anyway, without all the detail. I've seen it. But the purpose is different. And the purpose for a Vaishnava is achieve the goal of life. And because of the clear sense of the goal of life, the purpose is to help assist one in achieving the goal of life. Achieving the goal of life is do everything that we do for the pleasure of Krishna. Be situated in a relationship with Krishna. Anukulyena. Do that which is pleasing to Krishna. Do whatever you do because it's pleasing to Krishna, and do it in the mood that is pleasing to Krishna. And cultivate that consciousness. That was part of our topic yesterday. I'm repeating it now. So that was on, this is an auspicious day. We do beneficial things on auspicious days. And then every day is, for a Vaishnava, is an opportunity to make another step, another 2 or 3 steps on the path towards Krishna. And we know the goal is to reach Krishna. So now back to the storyline. This is Satya Yuga, and Kardama Muni has fulfilled, at least a portion, fulfilled the request of his father, Lord Brahma, to help produce Praja, because in a short while, Lord Brahma is going to show up and indicate to Kardama Muni and Devahuti these 9 daughters are to be given to different sages, other direct sons of Brahma, to help them in the same service of producing good offspring, filling up the universe with good offspring, and even beyond that, various species of life and so forth. Continue reading and you'll hear that description. So, his service having now been completed, he's ready to go. Yeah. And she's feeling fearful, so how to create this fearlessness? That was the reference. He makes reference to this 5th canto section, same as what Rishabdev has done for his sons. She's requesting of her good husband. Now, that's what needs to be done now, even more specifically, how to do it. Detached from the temporary, attached to the personality of Godhead, attached to, the personality of Godhead, and in so doing, again, just like our discussion yesterday, if there's some inconvenience, you tolerate it. You don't, the reason for doing or not doing something is not because it feels good or it doesn't feel good. It's because there's this higher purpose to be fulfilled. So you, tapotivyam, you execute something for that higher purpose and you tolerate whatever inconvenience there may be. So that's the how-to cultivation. And then comes this, some focus on fearlessness. And his explanation of fearlessness is that the temporary, in anticipation, here it hasn't happened yet, but in anticipation of it being taken, like, for example, anticipation of death, anticipation of something, losing something that's dear to you. In this case, it's her husband. But whatever it is that may be dear to us, unless it's our relationship with Krishna, is temporary. Here today, gone tomorrow, and I'm going to lose it. And so, fearfulness. Now I wanted to make reference to a verse that of late I've been liking very, very much for a variety of reasons. It's 11th Canto, Chapter 2, where how fearfulness comes and how to free oneself from fearfulness. It's exactly on the topic. So it's in Chapter 2 of Canto 11, it's the Navayogendras. These are 9 of the 100 sons of Rishabdev became perfected souls like Narada. Perfected souls meaning they could travel anywhere in the universe. Kardama Muni also has that capacity. And in a similar mood, they just give teachings of the standards of perfection. They're just filled with compassion. And so those Navayogendras, they just happened, by providential arrangement, to come to a place where a great king in the Ikshvaku line, King Nimi, was performing a sacrifice. And they just showed up, literally hovering in the air, because they don't need to walk, they can travel however they like. And he stopped the sacrifice, which you're not supposed to do when you start a sacrifice, you can complete, but he stopped because he saw these amazing personalities, and he stood and offered obeisances and asked them who they were, and asked a series, these obviously of great personalities, this is my opportunity to inquire from you, and he made a whole series of high-level questions. And this answer, what this verse that I'm referring to, is part of the answer, is how to connect with transcendence and what happens if you don't. So the verse begins, Bhayam. Bhayam means fear. Bhayam dvitiyam abhiniveshitakshat ishad apetasya paparya yosmritihi. That's how it begins. So, Bhayam, and abhinivesh means absorption in, and absorption in something other than Isha. Dvitiyam, Dviti means dual. So that which is, that this world of duality is a place where opposites exist, and it seems that they're existing apart from the Supreme. And viparyayo smritihi means you lose your intelligence and your memory is gone, memory of reality. How? Become absorbed in something that's seen as apart from Krishna. Bhayam tatriyam abhiniveshitakshat. And even stronger, ishad apetasya. Apetasya means having negativity, aversion. I mean, not like hostile, like enemy, but like not interested. Not interested. Like we might not be interested in something that's out there and just not interested. Ayam ishadapetasya viparyayo smritihi. The capacity, the mind, the capacity for the mind to be fixed and determined and strong and clear and regardless of circumstance, a little bit like Virajita's question yesterday, when the mind is not supported by Krishna consciousness or absorption in Krishna, then the mind, as much as one may try to make it fixed, it moves. Just like a candle flame in the wind, it moves. You may say it's not moving. But it's the combination of wind and a candle flame is going to move. You have to stop the wind. And the wind is the moving circumstance, as time moves circumstances, and the desires in the mind become attracted to some object that's seen as separate from Krishna, the mind moves. We can't, it's unstable. Viparyoyo smritihi. Ishada petasya viparyoyo smritihi. But so that's the problem, and then the solution is then become absorbed in Krishna, become absorbed in transcendence, become absorbed in the Supreme. This is 11.2.37. Long purport. Tanmaya yato Buddha abhajet tam. This bewildering, fearful condition is effected by the potency of illusion called Maya. Therefore, an intelligent person should engage unflinchingly in the unalloyed devotional service of the Lord under the guidance of a bona fide spiritual master, whom he should accept as his worshipable deity and his very life and soul. The connection to transcendence is the system that Krishna provides for connection to transcendence. Same as in Bhagavad Gita. The connection to transcendence is through the cyclic succession. That's how Krishna, so he gives himself through that means. And one who accepts that means can be connected to transcendence. That's his system. Don't buck the system. You won't reach transcendence. Now there's lots of people out there that they want to create their own. And they borrow from here, and they're eclectic and there, and speculate, this means that, and so forth and so on. But that's not the method. That's not Krishna's system. So how to create, this is now back to the verse for this morning, how to create this system of, this arrangement for transcendence. How is it that a mother or a father or a teacher or a head of state, or he's using this word kinsman, this is directly a verse from the Bhagavatam saying, don't take that position unless you can. Now, who's going to say, oh, I can do that? How do you do that? It's through disciplic succession, connect one to transcendence, that you live your life in alignment with, or accepting this descending principle of being connected to the personality of Godhead. And not just, again, referring to something from yesterday, not just doing behaviors. Doing behaviors is important, but not just doing behaviors that are the right behaviors and you avoid the wrong behaviors. That's not the essence. If you recall from yesterday, I'm repeating something because it's important. It's good to hear things several times. So, oh, I get it. Now I get it. So, the behaviors, anushilana, in Rupa Goswami's definition of devotional service. Anushilana is the conduct. Shila means behavior or activity. Anushilana means following the great souls. That's the inference. So Anushila, we do those things. But that's not sufficient. It's necessary. There's this mathematical phrase, I forget exactly how it goes, but it's necessary but not sufficient. So it's a condition that must be there, but there has to be, there's more important conditions than just doing the do's and avoiding the don'ts. Let's say it in a cute way, something I've coined. We're not the International Society for Behavior Modification Incorporated. We're the International Society for Krishna Consciousness. The essence of that Krishna consciousness is doing things that are favorable to Krishna and doing them in the consciousness that they're for Krishna. That's the conclusion of these Navayogendras to King Nimi. To overcome fearfulness, which arises from syat means it arises. Bhayam dutiyam abhiniveshitak syat. Bhayam syat. Fear arises when there's absorption in, not just an attraction, but absorption in things that appear to be separate. And seeing them as separate, we want to be the enjoyers of them, and that's a whole, it's material life. Bhayam, etc. So the solution is take shelter of devotional service under the guidance of this disciplic succession from Krishna and become absorbed over there. And then the fear is gone. It doesn't mean temporary things won't go away and disappear. Temporary things are temporary things. The circumstance of material life is going to continue. Transcendentalists don't try to change the temporary and make it permanent. That's what materialists do. Like, have whatever you have, wealth, health, something, position, and just time stops. Time doesn't stop. It's going to be taken. So it's not that time stops, but your consciousness stops looking for happiness in those things that you do. Your service to Krishna, attached to Krishna. That's not going to change. So to be, back to the purport, to be, and he says it 3 times, to be mother, father, teacher, head of state, kinsman, guru, etc. To have persons that you're giving shelter to and accepting in a subordinate role, it's obligatory to create or to at least provide the opportunity for fearlessness, that connection with transcendence. Now, Devahuti's not an ordinary personality. She's an extraordinary person. She's as qualified as Kardama Muni, who is an extraordinary personality. However, she's also, part of her qualification is she's amazingly humble. She considers herself unqualified. It's the nature of persons who are spiritually very qualified. They don't consider themselves. They may act strongly as the circumstance requires, but their heart is soft and humble. They serve for the pleasure of Krishna in appropriate circumstance, appropriate ways, time, place, circumstance, appropriate ways, but their heart is very soft. So, and humble. So she's considering herself not qualified, expressing that she's feeling fear and is requesting her good husband to give her the gift of fearlessness. So we know from 11:237, as well as Canto 5, how that fearlessness can be established. Full shelter in Krishna. And there isn't an option. The heart becomes cleansed, and the place of safety and protection is there. Rakshishati vishvaso. Raksha means protection. I'm protected. And therefore, whatever the circumstances, I'm protected. I'm in the shelter of Krishna. Fearlessness. No fear. And it's not a bluff. It's no fear. Vaikuntha. No anxiety. By complete shelter in the personality of Godhead. So that's a responsibility. Not the only responsibility, but principle, and it connects with the purpose of life, the purpose of being in a position where you're extending care to others is to help others come to the purpose of life. And you have to have connected to that purpose of life in order to give it to others. What's our qualification to receive such a gift or to give such a gift? And it's just a willingness, an eagerness, although we're unqualified. But the willingness, eagerness to connect with what the goal of life is. Prahlad Maharaj laments, people don't know what the goal of life is. Not te vidu svartakatimbi Vishnu. They don't know that the goal of life is Vishnu, attaining his shelter. So if you don't have that one, you've got another one. And generically, it's sense gratification or mental speculation in different categories and varieties. So the bhakti position is to hit the delete button over there and put in its place shelter of the lotus feet of Vishnu or Krishna. That's the goal. Now we're not there, but that's the goal. And then move towards the goal. Life is under proper guidance and direction, is to move towards that goal. Then one who is doing that has some empowerment from Krishna and those representing Krishna to do that. And then that person has the capacity to give to others. You can be a guide for, you don't have to be a perfected soul to be a guide for other devotees. It's like our Bhakti Vriksha system. Those that are serving in the role of Bhakti Vriksha leaders, they have a big responsibility. I mean, it's a big challenge too, because people come forward from all different types of backgrounds and all different types of expectations and all different types of conceptions and all different types of implication in matter. Some are gentle and some are rough. Some are this and some are that. You put them all together and put them in a paper bag and shake them. It's difficult. Here's another piece of news from the GBC perspective. It's good news, especially Alaram can hear this one. Over the past, to assist in this effort, and similar to the topic yesterday evening, similar to the topic of helping people become human, those 21 qualities that are human qualities, and then the 9 that are devotional. 2 courses it's taken about 3 to 5 years to develop, are now available in the United States of America and Canada. One of them, I just give them a name and then I'll describe. One of them is a devotee care course, and another is VLC, Vaishnava Life Counseling. I'll start with the Vaishnava Life Counseling. There's going to be looks like five different venues in North America in the month of September. So the person that created the curriculum lives in Australia. Name is Ikshvaku. And he has a bachelor's degree in social work. And for some number of years, he's worked in the field of social work and has taken both the academic, and now he's the leader of a community somewhere in Australia. So he's taken those three, and he's put together a curriculum, which some of our PhD devotees have looked at the curriculum and say it's a good curriculum, and he's a qualified, at least has the credential to teach it. It's helping people who are in the Bhakti Vriksha leader, or Bhakta leader, or temple president, vice president, depending on the model of how training and education is being extended to devotees. That gives basic skills and understanding, know-how, how to perform that service. Now, there's many devotees all over the world that are performing that service. They really don't know how to perform that service. So it's under the umbrella of the Congregation Development Ministry, and there's introductory, intermediate, and there's really high-level things. And the really high-level things he's not going to teach because it's really high-level things. It's basically for somebody that has a counseling profession, because things can get really sticky sometimes, depending upon the need and the circumstance of the individual. But anyone that's done devotee, extending Krishna consciousness to others, knows that there's a whole range of persons that come. And just like we heard yesterday, Prabhupada making that quote, some people come, what are we to do? So we don't turn them away. But do we have the skill to take care of people in a trained, skilled, and professional manner? Not really. So this devotee is going to be giving some of those skills, at least one time around presentation. So here's the schedule. The closest one for you all up here is in Chicago over the Labor Day weekend. If you don't have something, I don't know. He has a limit of how many people can attend. But at least somebody from here should attend it, I would think. And then once having attended, then certain of the modules can be taught in a local place. But it's really important, I'm an advocate of training and education, to move from where we are to where we want to be, to make a better ISKCON that's more wholesome. And the persons that are doing services have some training to do those services. It's a novel idea. I mean, in the quote real world, if you got to take on whatever job, you get massive training generally. This can be a stewardess in an airplane or anything. A whole bunch of training. You're going to do anything, a whole bunch of training. So this is an opportunity for training, and then modules that are on the lower levels, having been learned, can be taught. I believe he's going to provide the curriculum. So Chicago over Labor Day weekend, it's going to be longer because it's a holiday. It's going to be a little longer, so he'll be able to do more modules, I believe. And then next he's going the second weekend of September to Alachua, and the third weekend of September to Central New Jersey, the fourth weekend to Laguna Beach, and the fifth weekend to Silicon Valley or San Jose, and then he's going to South America. Vaishnava Life Counseling. And you can find out more from probably Hemangi, with like, when and what
Sure.
and how many, and it's limited. He doesn't want he wants a limited number. Then there's another course that has taken about 5 years. The interest in it is devotee care. There's since 2007, that's more than 5 years, there's been a devotee care committee. It's one of the largest, that meet together for our strategic planning sessions, and when we have twice annual meetings, 30 people come together that are interested in this topic, and they have they have a website and they have publications and so forth, but they now have a curriculum that a devotee named Rasa Mandala from the UK has developed, and he got a stipend to do it, and it's now done. Curriculum on devotee care. And Vrajalila, based in Girinagari, Bhaktitirtha Swami Vrajalila, is the authorized teacher, and she can be requested to come, according to her schedule and yours, to come and teach it. I don't know too much about it other than I know Rasa Mandala, and he's the one that's designed lots of curriculum. I believe he was behind the Bhakti Shastri curriculum. Anyway, that's his thing. He's a curriculum writer. Give me the material and make a curriculum out of it. That's the kind of educator he is. Really, really nice devotee. Very gentle devotee. Very bright devotee. Little, not so flexible. He has his way. He likes to do things. But from what I've been told, it's his fantastic curriculum. So these are two examples of current time availability to help us become, like our topic last night, human. Having the capacity to be more like what we want to be, and support systems and education how to do that, what it means to do that. And it's just like this how-to idea here. How to become fearless. All of this is the transcendental message of the Bhagavatam, is to become connected to Krishna. And because we have an organization, we have social beings, we have social interactions, how to pursue that elevated goal when we're down here and we're interacting with others. It helps us. So now, conclusion. Devahuti, anticipating that Kardamoni is soon going to leave, is an anxiety. And she's not saying don't leave, although I'm sure she wants him to not leave. She's asking him to grant her all these other things that he's given her, in addition, fearlessness, Krishna consciousness. That's how you can give fearlessness. You can't give something you don't have. He has it. She has it too. She's just taking this position of feeling she doesn't have it and wishing for fearlessness. She's feeling, at least by Krishna's arrangement, she's feeling some fear of loss of the temporary. Bhagavatam is very wonderful. We can learn so many things. Any discussion? Yes?
This is continuing from yesterday a little bit, but what I noticed is, what I notice in situations is that there is an attachment, as you pointed out, to the things, to material things and the situations and even people around you. And yet there is, at moments I recognize that the people around me, for example, are themselves attached to other things and perhaps not not attached to the whole.
Transcendence, yeah.
Yeah. So, so the interactions in all of that sometimes become overwhelming in the sense that it's hard to keep a detachment and keep things in the right perspective with events as well as people. And then and you mentioned sort of coming back to the attachment to Krishna as the direction to take. And so, you know, it's the struggle, but at the same time, let's say in the moments that I do feel an attachment to Krishna, sometimes I feel like I'm disconnecting with the rest.
No. Well, that may be your feeling, I'm not denying the feeling, but I know, the strong no is, that's immature. It's impersonal. Because all of that is part of Krishna too. So, like an impersonalist finds misery in the temporary. So let me just say, you know, get detached from the temporary. Just negative. Then it attached to what? Well, if you're Mayavadi, that's Brahman. If you're a Buddhist, there's nothingness. Void. But what's Brahman? Well, there's no variegatedness. So it's just detachment, period. And attachment to what? So there's no if one is an impersonalist, there's no connection between the temporary and Brahman. It's false. It doesn't exist. It's like Zippo. So, and now I become, so where do I go with this? Detachment is quite incomplete. It's Rupa Goswami's definition of renunciation or detachment. It's incomplete if you give up that which is in relation to Hari. The complete is to see it in relation to Hari. And, nice phrase, according to suitability, it's nice, like big envelope, according to suitability. You engage in those activities for the pleasure of Krishna. So it's the operative principle is for the pleasure of Krishna. We lose track of for the pleasure of Krishna, then comes the no. Don't lose track of for the pleasure of Krishna. Now, it's not easy, as you know, you gave the outline of the problem. The solution isn't disconnect, just unplug. I'm feeling miserable, I'm going to unplug. It's immature, it's incomplete, it's impersonal. Well, to be a personalist, the good news is it's not dependent simply on your effort, it's dependent upon your effort and Krishna's mercy. That's our program, a life in devotion. We strive and we're depending on Krishna's mercy. Then you're protected. That spiritual potency, the internal potency, gives the strength and the intelligence and the ability and everything. Now I'm not there yet. I'm way down here. But that's the principle. So when you see that happens, hit the pause button. What's going on here? I'm feeling disconnected. That's because I'm disconnected with Krishna. And I'm not only disconnected from Krishna. That's another fearful. Let's do the Krishna Connect. Now, in the Krishna Connect, what's the best way to serve? I may not have an answer to that question, but that's my question. The Krishna Connect channel just got reestablished. There's not certainty, but there's not disconnect. there's a biblical saying, seek and ye shall find. If you don't ask the question, you're not going to find the answer. It can be right in front of your face or hit you on the head, and you're not going to see it because you're not asking the question. But what's the best way to serve Krishna in this circumstance? Because the mood, who I am, is I'm Krishna's servant, eternally. I've forgotten it. I get stuck over here too much, but that's who I am. So in my position as Krishna's servant, what's the best way to serve Krishna? It's a little bit like, you know, after the class yesterday evening, we're going to do it again this evening, by the way, this tolerance. So, tolerance doesn't mean you check out. Tolerate means you don't get in this reactive space. Oh yeah, or you know, something. You're going to do one of those, I'm going over there, or something. You're in a place, tolerance means same, what's the best way to serve Krishna, and then you may do something as opposed to doing nothing, saying nothing. Tolerance doesn't mean just, you know, button up. Shut your intelligence off, shut your mind down, close the door to your senses, and you just, you know, go into a padded cell in a straitjacket with a gag and blindfold on. That's not what it means. Don't get into a reactive mode, stay in the service mode, and now then you do something. And certainly what you do, continue to do, is you continue to serve because that's who you are, who we are. That was the best way to serve. I may not know, but I'm going to keep going on serving in ways that I do know. The bhakti principle is what we need to cultivate and exercise in all circumstances, including one you just mentioned, and the tolerance one, and so forth. I think you're going to like this evening's discussion. Nice. Anything else? Yes?
Extension of the same question.
Okay. You got to speak slowly, though. You have a tendency to speak real fast.
Person feels that he is attached to people.
Ah.
And he is more attached to Krishna.
And is more attached to Krishna.
And is more attached to Krishna. He is
That's
attached
nice.
to people. He is attached to people. He is more attached to Krishna.
That's nice.
People around him feel that he is become more indifferent and then indifferent to everything, and then he is not caring them. How a devotee should take that, and then how he should...
With a smile. You know, one of those. Then once you're in that smile space, depending upon the time, place, circumstance, you can demonstrate otherwise, you can explain otherwise, you can adjust externals so they don't feel that feeling. There's no guarantee you adjust externals and the feeling's going to change. But, you know, because you care about the person, for the pleasure of Krishna, you decide, you know, what you're, from the choices that are available to you, what's going to be most pleasing to Krishna, given this circumstance. The inside, there should be a big smile. Especially if, you know, the premise that you started with is more attached to Krishna. If that's the case, you just keep exercising that one. And then that's going to spiritualize the attachment to others. But you won't be able to spiritualize the attachment to others unless the attachment to Krishna becomes more spiritualized. You just keep going with a big smile. Because Krishna, being pleased, he'll then give you the intelligence. Otherwise you won't have. You'll use some other faculty on the material side. It doesn't work out. It may seem to work out for a while and then it breaks down again, then it wasn't right. Father, have you got something? Okay. Yes?
Thank you for your class. I have like a couple of things, like is attachment okay to the family, like especially the children? Like, how
The message isn't, if you're a parent, be detached from your children. You won't be a very good parent.
Yeah. Like,
That's not the message.
yes.
So now, how to spiritualize that attachment for children. That's where your attention should go. And when you spiritualize, then something happens. Let's say, on the positive and the negative. On the positive, they do something that's really wonderful. Or in the negative, they do something that needs some correction. What's the place of consciousness that I'm going to act from as a parent towards my dependent child or children? In such a way, their attraction for Krishna is going to grow, and I'm not bringing their position of narcissism in a expanded way. You know what I mean by that? Yes? I am thinking a really nice situation from Ramayana, because I've been absorbed in preparing for going to Ayodhya. When Dasarath has made the decision, he has such affection for Ram. He would call for his son. And his son, there's nothing else that Ram would want but the bidding of his father. So he would come and say, "Yes, father, what is it?" He said, "No, I just wanted to see you. You can go now." And he would go. And then Dasarath would say, "Send for Ram." "Yes, father, what is it?" No, it's okay, just one. So the affection of father for son, and the obedience of Ram for his father, so that's the given, affection. Then when Dasarath had this premonition, he's seeing bad omens, he's been ruling for so long, I want to turn the kingdom over to Ram. He calls the members of the council and other kings, and they say yes. And he says, "That's not good enough. Tell me why you're saying yes." And they, glorify Ram. Oh, okay. So coronation. Sumantra, you start making the arrangements, and So Ram is informed. And then Dasarath calls him again. Send for Ram. Ram comes. As a father, there's commentary from our acharyas on this little section. As a father, he recognizes the qualification of Ram. At the same time, he's cautioning him. Don't become proud. There's no pride. When you become king, don't let that happen. Be very, he doesn't have a problem, but and so the commentary is, as part of the responsibility of fathers or mothers to give instruction, not for the purpose of scolding, but not just back-patting either. The narcissism goes the other way. In our modern time, it's too much. During this semester, spring semester, that's one of the main topics I've been speaking about at universities when doing university programs, is how our modern social structure promotes narcissism, and it's a disease according to the professionals that look at it. It's a disease, and there's all these symptoms of the disease. So part of a mistake in parenting, according to these experts, not me, or the Bhagavatam, is the pampering of parents. It's not like, be mean, but indulging, and they call it helicopter parents. And and flattering their kids. You're the best, you're the greatest, you can do anything. And then there's all these expectations that have, from the parent to the kids, and then the kids, there's all this and out. So don't make that mistake. Don't be this side or that side. Be a good parent. Understand you're to support good character, even when the good character is there. You encourage, like there's this saying, catch people doing something right, as opposed to the other, catch people doing something wrong. When you see something right, you encourage it. At the same time, be cautious. Exercise caution. You're very powerful when now you become king. Don't let that powerful position allow you to exercise power other than according to religious principle. Now Ram doesn't know anything but that, but he's saying it anyways. It's part of parenting. It's part of giving care. It's part of the duty of a Prabhupada's thing. A spiritual master's duty is to chastise the disciple. I'm not good at that, but giving correction where correction is needed, even when there's already a good quality, make that quality become stronger and better. Not just by backpatting. So encourage and also correct. And out of position, that's the proper utility of the attachment, to grow towards Krishna, because of, like this question, primary attachment to Krishna. And that way, it's not the detachment as in I don't care, it's the detachment in I'm not so attached, I'm blind to be able to see what's what and to do what's appropriate. When one is too much attached, like Dasarath, Dhritarashtra was not only materially blind, he was materially blind. He was given good advice and he said, you're right, but I can't do it. I'm too attached. Viparya yo smritihi. Exactly this verse that I was speaking from. Your power of discretion is gone. And you're just in this reactive mode. It's not give up affection. You'd be a terrible parent if you did that. Or the appropriate attachment. Appropriate means for Krishna. Because here's a soul that Krishna has entrusted me to give care for. So, in service to Krishna, there's attachment. Transfer that attachment to the Krishna attachment dimension, and then you got it. That's not easy, but then you have it. Undue attachment is the problem. Lack of Krishna-centered attachment is the problem. Otherwise, our message is impersonalism. Go to a cave and meditate on nothingness.
So I heard from one of the devotees love is what we have to show, not attachment between the negatives.
Same. But nonetheless, there's the body, and something happens to the body or the mind. Somebody yells at the kid, and the kid starts crying. Or just anyway, just in the course of coming here. The mother had a lap child. She was sitting next to me, and the child touched something that was hot. It was the mistake of the mother, and the kid lost it for like 20 minutes. So she's not like, oh, I'm detached. So over and over again, it's just she was a really good mother. It's not like even on the body platform. That's my point. So on the emotional platform, the child emotionally can understand the mother cares. Over and over and over and over and over. Over and over and over and over and over. And so the healing of not just as part of parenting, particularly mothering, the creature comforts, and the affective nature of the child is so much dependent upon the emotional condition and the givingness of mother. So that a child dependent should not be with a question mark over that aspect of their life. But do those things, the Krishna conscious perspective is, you do those things because it's what's pleasing to Krishna. Not just because it's attachment or I don't, anyway. The detachment is the affinity for matter, and the attachment is pleasing Krishna. Not just on the soul, all the other things that mothers do. Zillion things that mothers do. And do those things too for the pleasure of Krishna. That's a challenge because, my goodness, ducklings, the mother duckling looks after a baby duckling. She doesn't have to go to school to learn how to do it. So motherhood has that dimension to it. So you don't make it zero. Just care about the soul. Anyway, you get the idea. It's to spiritualize those things too. Do them happily and lovingly and abundantly for Krishna. And you also know where to draw the line, because it may carry you over the line or may carry the child over the line and they feel, I got a helicopter mom. I don't have to exercise anything because helicopter mom's going to do it for me. So step back and let them do stuff, and even if they make some mistakes, it's okay. The loving parent is there. They can point out those mistakes. They don't have to well, it's part of parenting. It's not an easy task. Complicated by the fact that the attachment is there, naturally. Yeah.
Is there time for another question?
Time for?
Another question?
Sure. Sure.
Two questions.
Huh.
One of them is continuing about parenting. So
Parenting topic.
what happens when, or what is the right action when things are
When things are?
when things are going downhill in the parenting situation with children and parents? So is the first step to check, whether I'm doing this from attachment to Krishna?
Yeah. The first step is pause. Go to the mode of goodness space. And then you open your heart to Krishna and ask. And seek input from Krishna, not in, I want it to go this way or that way, but I want some input from Krishna. Just tune into the Krishna channel and look within. And you can also look without in various resources from without. It's in life, it's good to have somebody guiding that knows us and is detached, not a controlling person and a confidential person, and someone that can guide us. And depending upon the circumstance, you could ask family members. It needs to be done in a guided manner, intelligent manner, but different families have that practice, where in a non-critical but help one another mood, give feedback. Not easy to get that because of tensions and attachments and all the other things, but that's another option. Just look within and seek for some input from without.
And it made me think about how sort of around us nationally and world, there's all of these political and disturbing events. And in such a context, how do you see ourselves as Vaishnavas? How we can, knowing that we don't control things, but how can we contribute to making things better?
Lots of ways. Set a good example. And then, depending upon relationships, have dialogue with persons that either have similar point of view, what can we do collectively, or persons that may need some help, and not like too much challenging, but somebody that may need some help, some area that, depending upon the relationship, I may be able to, steer the ship a little, a degree or two in another direction in a certain area, depending upon the relationship. As a community, as an individual, and the persons of the world that I move in, there are different worlds that we move in. The Vaishnava community world and the outside of the Vaishnava community world, and the professional arena, the town, the neighborhood, and whatever. Not in a I'm going to go out and save the world kind of spirit, but just let me be part of that which makes a difference, according to my time and capacity. And even just having a desire to do like that is beneficial. Not in, not in the mentality of I'm the doer, but the mentality of let me be an instrument of Krishna in this direction. So for me, it's speak on this point in public forums, and here's some options of, besides that, here's some other options. And naturally gesture to Bhagavad Gita and the association of devotees. That doesn't say that the association of devotees is such that they're free from any of these problems. But, the cure is there. The opportunity is there. Especially Prabhupada's teachings. Now, different people take those teachings in different ways. But principle-based, seek sadhu sangha. Persons that live the message of Bhagavad Gita. Seek that association kind of message, and then try to be an example of that message, according to our capacity. Okay, I think we're going to end. A nice morning together. Today's Ekadasi, so there's Ekadasi Prasadam, and I fast on Ekadasi in the morning, so I'm just going to tally ho.
I'm going to send some fruit with you for your next.
You can give to her,
Yeah.
and so forth. Srila Prabhupada ki
Jai.
Jai.